Listen, I don't know about you, but I started a business so I could do this. Travel, be with friends, be with family, create memories. I didn't do it to sit at the computer all day. I didn't do it so that I could just be in countless emails and Zoom meetings. I did it to create opportunities for myself and opportunities for others. So listen, if that's something that interests you, enjoying time with your friends, being out and about, definitely drop by Erica Williams Classy Climb blog. Check out the YouTube channel. We've got over 2,000 videos of free information that's actually changed people's lives. People actually post their new jobs, their new careers, their new businesses all the time over at the channel.
What's up, everybody? This is your girl Erica from the Classy Climb blog. Thank you guys for your patience and your cares and your thoughts and your warm wishes this past month as we have been grieving our patriarch of our family. And I thank you for that. So probably still a ton more pre-recorded videos to get through. But I just want to say thank y'all for that. Very kind comments. Many of you have been displaying. We're still in the process of moving to our new house. So things are packed up. So it may be kind of echoey in here. I apologize if so. But come in here, drop your city and state in the chat. And I look forward to talking to y'all today because many of you are shocked, right? You're shocked. And why are you shocked? Because Donald Trump came in and really did what said what he's going to do. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, the title of this video is Trump's going to make real estate boom. ICE raids, got 6 months, and school choice. Now, I just finished attending Tim Jackson's lobbyist event he put together. I'll post some of that on the walls, community walls, just to discuss it. But long and the story short, schools and school choice have been at the forefront of the argument. I'm gonna be careful I said the argument of many politicians for years now. Right? Your neighborhood change, gentrification. Hey, why can't, if I'm paying tax dollars, why can't I take my child to any school? Right? And so what's going to happen with that, unfortunately, is school choice. As I start this conversation is raggedy schools are going to lose their champions. Now, what do I mean raggedy schools? Schools that have high substitute teachers, people don't want to work in that neighborhood, the grades aren't great, the funding isn't great. But you have champions. You always have a couple people, like 10 to 20 people at the school who are arguing for the school, fighting for the school, coming to all the PTA meetings, arguing for more resources, arguing for things for the kids, pushing the ball, right? Pushing the tempo uphill. If I'm tired of pushing the tempo uphill for my kid and a few other parents are joining me, I'm gonna take my ball and leave. I'm gonna go put my child in a different environment. And I really want y'all to understand school choice is because most parents know, and most adults, once you really get an actual growth to yourself, that it's 80% environment, 20% willpower. Let me say this again. When it comes to diets, when it comes to workouts, it's 80% environment, 20% willpower. Right? I work out with a personal trainer on Tuesday, Thursdays. I already know I'm gonna be sore on those days. I know I'm gonna be tired on those days. Guess what? If it ain't in the house, I can't eat it. Right? And when you start tinkering deeper and deeper into, physical fitness and in health, and you start figuring out what supplements work, what don't work, when you start tinkering further and further into it, you really realize, guess what? It's 80% environment, 20% willpower. If you don't have the junk food in your house, your kids can't eat it, your kids can't be fat. Guess what? 80% of the time, they at your house. Only other time they out is at school. And the school ain't throwing chips down the hallway. They have vending machines, but they're not, right? So this is where parents get angry when the ball gets pushed back on them, because guess what's going to happen? Now that you give them school choice, if you're a parent who's every day talking about, man, this school's so bad, they bullying my child, your friends and family are going to say, well, why don't you take your child to another school? And the first thing that's well, I shouldn't have to. They should be better at this school. They should do this at this school. Really what it comes down to is you do not want to drive out of your work route to go drop your kid off at another school, because that would add what? More to your plate. I know. I get it. But school choice is going to point out who's been really lying about their kid, who's been lying about how mad they are about school, right? Private schools are going to increase. What do people go to private schools? They want small class sizes. Not all private schools are great. Not all private schools are going to leave you to Ivy League. I went to a private school. It was one of the best environments for me. I played golf and tennis. It was part of my day. And that was provided by the Black Lawyers and Doctors Association. They paid for us to go play golf and tennis on a regular basis with trainers. You know, you're going to see academies pop up everywhere. And I think I posted a clip on the community wall when I was in Dallas and Richardson checking on some friends a week or two ago. And sure enough, across from this hotel and this business park, I said, man, baby, I don't know how these these buildings are paid for, because they've been empty since COVID. And all of a sudden we looked up across the way, they were turning one of the buildings into an academy, a 3-story academy. They were already setting up the bars where you have security. That first floor is going to be probably administrators and a few grades, but the rest of the kids are going to be at second and third level. Trust me, you're going to see small academies pop up everywhere. If I had the money and resources like I wanted, I'd pop up a small academy, right? Because even if you just get the academy to 500 students, you're talking about, and you're charging $25K a year, that's $12 million. Now your school just has to figure out, how do we budget $12 million for 500 kids to do trips, to do food, to pay the teachers, to do bonuses? Like, it's money. It's a little rip. You know what I'm saying? It's money. That's why you see a lot of these churches go to the private school or Christian community academy route, because it's a moneymaker. You know, depending on the city or state, it's a moneymaker for sure. And you can get affordable private school, but really what parents are chasing is small classroom size and their child getting individualized attention. All right. One of the saddest things is, I think when they have this documentary on the lottery they do in New York, if kids will be able to get to these certain charter schools. And I mean, you could tell the kids are just devastated. The parents are crying because they didn't win the lottery. Yeah. But also what's dangerous is having school choice where so many kids flood the good school is no longer good. Those schools are going to be able to tell people no. I know people don't believe this, but they're going to let some of those schools tell people no. And so that's my minute on school choice. I just want you guys to understand, if you weren't paying attention, the first 6 months, Trump is going to come in here like Wreck-'em Ralph. Okay. He's going to bam the hammer. He's going to sign executive orders. Listen, let me tell y'all something. Y'all, thank you for watching the channel. If you're new here, ask somebody. All right. So long the story short, let me keep it moving. Like Wreck-'em Ralph, they're going to throw a ton of laws and things in place that were promised. Because what's first thing people say is like, oh yeah, he promised all this stuff, but he's not going to do it. And I go, no, he really is. There's probably a list and they're just checking it off, because it's going to take years through court and back action to fight against all these things that get put in place. But by then, most people have lost steam. Now, let me get to what many of you saw on the title is about the real estate boom. Why do I think it's going to boom? Where am I going with this? Because a lot of people say, well, Erica, every day I turn on the YouTube and we're going to have a crash. I haven't bought anything because we're going to have a crash. I'm telling you right now, I'm purchasing right now because the builder's like, I'm going to buy it down to 3% interest rate. I'm going to pay all your closing costs. I'm going to throw in a free everything. Here's a free stove. Here's a free refrigerator. Here's a free this. Do you want a grill? Do you want a patio? What do you want? Here, have it all. And a lot of people think, well, it's a terrible time to buy a house. According to who? According to who? Oh, Donna, listen. Hey, Donna, you're new here, and we have a thing called Block Ministry, and you are now welcome to it. Congratulations. You've been put in Block Ministry. We don't tolerate that kind of rhetoric here. Have a great day. All right. So now that we've started off the year, of course, 2025 with the Block Ministry, God bless us. Let's continue. Like I was saying, they're going to start this year off really, really strong, really fast, really strong, really hard. But I'm telling you, ICE has less than 6 months. Why am I telling you ICE has less than 6 months? Okay. Because we live in capitalism. Okay. May to August, I'm going to just tell you right now, May to August is gangbusters for real estate, for renovations, for roofing, for lawn care, for you name it, the industry that makes a ton of money in that time. Okay. It's gangbusters. So they got a little bit of window here. and I live in Austin, Texas, and I drive to Houston, I go to Atlanta, I go all these places. There are plenty of Black contractors, Black construction workers, Black plumbing, Black electrical. There's plenty of white guys. Now, here's why I say I'm not really worried, because out here, you go by the hotels, by where a lot of the construction is, you'll see a lot of trucks from Georgia, Tennessee, Florida, all this other stuff, right? You'll see all this stuff, and you'll say, man, where are all these guys coming from? If you pay attention, and I'm just going to use foam installation just because of my connection to it. Up north, from Boston up, let's just be honest, from Virginia up, when it hits under 60 degrees, y'all not really roofing like that. Y'all doing emergency cases, emergency leaks, a tree fell through the roof, I'm patching it up, I'm patching it up to the spring, I'm holding it over, I'm checking out the damage, I'm going to tell you, hold on, because of the weather. Now, most of those guys, if you actually interact with a lot of these roofing guys at these conferences, they shut the business down in the summer. I mean, in the winter. They go on vacations. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. They go on vacations. They go enjoy Christmas with the fam. They go to Disney World. I don't think y'all understand, like, a lot of men do very successfully with their roofing companies, having them 6 months out of the year. They do well with their foam install. They'll have 3 or 4 trucks. 4 or 5 trucks, and they'll do the work just in the summer and new construction work. That's it. Okay. So what happens when you say, well, if Trump gets rid of the illegals, Erica, who's going to work? These white men from Boston and everything. White dudes from Minnesota who, like, you know what, honey, we ain't going to Disneyland this fall. I need to make some more money. I'm going to Texas and complete some contracts. I have a friend right now who's here in Austin. He was in Alaska. He was in Connecticut. He was in Kentucky doing the whole hotels. Why? Because they needed workers. They needed workers. I don't think y'all understand how this, because a lot of us are not exposed to blue collar. And let's be honest, the average Black person, you ask them about blue collar, they tell you about their poor uncle who back is thrown out and he don't feel well, and he ain't never recovered from falling off that roof. And he ain't never had a good life since he was doing roofing and plumbing, and look at his hands. And again, really crazy horror stories. But the average white Latino families I meet, their uncle bought a house, bought multiple vehicles. They go on great vacations, and they're like, what are you talking about? Your uncle just didn't know how to manage his money. Your uncle didn't take care of his back. Your uncle was drinking on the job. What are you talking about? You know, so again, you have to be careful who you're listening to. Same with military advice. When you hear people, oh, that's good. Hold on a second. That is good. Okay, so when you hear people talk about military experience, and I'm sitting there looking at you like, we got over 40 family members who are in the military. Most of them got pensions. Most of them got big houses. Most of them put zero money down for their house. They done traveled the world. What MOS did your uncle pick? What did he do in his time while he was in the service? Why hasn't he followed up with the VA request for paperwork? You got to really start asking questions when you see consistently Black men who own homes and do well for military retirement. But your uncles, 99% are doing great, but your uncle's doing bad. Y'all gotta ask yourself a question here. You gotta ask yourself a question. Okay. So again, when it comes to having skills equals money. If you're the guy right now who knows how to roof and plumb and electrical, and people are like, oh, the workers didn't show up, are you in people's ecosphere to call? I've been in some of these Facebook groups, and I tell my Middleman to Million students all the time, are you in these Facebook groups seeing who can do work, who can do construction? The guys that always say, well, y'all always undercut us and underbid us on price. They ain't saying that right now. They're like, hey, I show up to the job. What time? What day? Where you at? Let me drive over there. Why? Because the economy's been tight the past 2 years. So if you got an uncle doing roofing, plumbing, electrical, and he's complaining there's no work, he's a bad worker. Let's keep it a buck. He's a bad worker. And everybody knows it because his phone would be ringing off the hook. Why? Whenever there's a shortage of cheap labor, right? A shortage of cheap labor, then we have to call the backups. You know, when Jeff don't show up to work, we're gonna call the alternates. And I've heard this a lot of people saying, well, they just keep me part-time on the schedule. They never give me a full schedule. They're always calling me, ask me to fill in on days. Yeah, because you're not their top team worker. You're not. There's a lot of other people. What are y'all saying down there? Sorry. Oh, okay. It's in here. Here. There you go. There's the book links. There you go. Sorry, trying to stay focused. But okay. So I am going to have a lunch date. We're gonna have our friends, girls, lunch date. Let's go, girls. So again, a lot of times people think construction means, you know, blue collar guys that didn't finish high school, you know, second chance guys coming out of prison. But really, if managed well, blue collar just means I'm gonna make a lot of money if I run my own thing or if I do my own thing on the side. They're long gone are the kind of fake mantra of your uncle is a drunk and he just parties every weekend. Now there's a lot of that in construction. Let's not get it twisted. But overall, if managed wisely, they make a lot of money. It's just a lot of work out here. And I don't think y'all understand. It's a lot of work. That's why so many young Black men are going to trade schools. That's why when you see Atlanta, I was driving by, a man had a whole tattoo on his face on the construction site. Black man. I said, brother, what's going on? But that's how much they need to be like, look, ignore the tattoo on his face. It's covering up his face like Mike Tyson, but we need him out here to work. There's a lot of opportunity. And I don't think y'all will understand that the next 4 years, you can either get right or get left. You know what I'm saying? You can either make some real smart decisions or not. And that's why before this whole ICE raid thing happened, I was telling y'all about the middleman to millions, because they're going to need somebody who can do what? Qualify on the paperwork. For the next couple of months, they're going to be like, who's licensed? Who qualifies on paperwork? Who can go get the job? They'll have to. Right? And so now people are telling you that real estate's going to crash. It's going to crash, Erica. Any moment, any time, any day, it's going to fall through the hole. And that's just not true. Right now, many people are trying to figure out how to buy down the interest rate. Many builders are like, all right, look, lender, let's just work together and do this. Many people were going to slow build this year. And now they don't have to worry about it. Because listen, I'm telling you, by the summertime, the euphoria that Trump is in, and many people don't want to hear that, the euphoria, and when I mean euphoria, the feeling of the good times are going to come again because Trump's in office. People are going to like, I'm going to buy a home this year, or I'm going to try to buy down the rate, or I feel like housing is going to have a problem. Y'all been listening to people online for 4 years say the housing market going to crash. And every year you look up, them houses get more and more expensive. And you upset. Every year. Just getting more and more costly. Oh my God, when will the houses crash? If you're not actively in this market, driving around communities and neighborhoods and looking for price, you're not going to get it. Listen, I'm here in Austin and people are like, Austin's crashing. Listen, you'll look on the MLS every day and you'll see a house, maybe 5 houses pop up for $285, $330. And people jump on them. They already got pending. The next day you look up, they're pending. That is going to happen everywhere else. Anytime y'all think, well, they're going to drop. No, people who are in dire situations, they're going to lower their price so they can get a house sale. But overall, it's going to sit. Again, a home is an investment, and I don't think y'all understand it. It's not just an investment in your money. It's in your mental, your peace of time, your peace of mind, in a lot of apartment situations, you have very transient people who feel no obligation to the property. So they're going to tear the property up. No matter how luxury the apartment complex is, there's always some manager who tell me about how they're tearing it up. No matter if it's downtown Austin, no matter if it's uptown Dallas, there's somebody going to tell you how they're tearing up these fancy and lucrative places every time. So this thought that you're going to get around the backbone of capitalism, the backbone of, since 1971, we've been off the gold standard. This is a country that focuses on ownership. Why was the school choice so hard? Why was everybody pushing for school choice so long? You were never going to be afford to live in those neighborhoods, but you want your kid to go to that school. There have been schools who've been on suspension for recruiting kids from other neighborhoods when if school choice was available, it wouldn't even be a conversation. That's really the problem, right? So I used to work off a property off 620 in Austin, Texas, and it had 600 units, almost 700 units. And I was like, why are people paying these exorbitant prices to stay over here? It was because they were down the street from this very lucrative, wealthy school. And they were never going to be able to afford a house in those neighborhoods. They weren't going to qualify on paper for those houses, but they could get their kid in that school by being at that apartment complex. And that's a play that many people have done for years. I don't think y'all understand how real school choice is for families that are paying attention. When you know that every day your kid's sitting around a Pookie leftover, good gracious. When you know your kid's sitting around people who are parents don't care about them, don't dress them well, ain't wash their face, ain't lotion their face, ain't brush their teeth, ain't cared if they showed up to school, you know what I'm talking about. If you've ever been in those school environments, you know exactly what I'm talking about. This is the same when it comes to real estate. All the people who were, oh, I'm in real estate, I'm a realtor, I'm a flipper, I'm an investor. The past 2 years washed a lot of those people out. It washed them out. You had to really be coming into the game seriously. You had to really be tinkering with your credit. You had to really be working with lenders. You had to really be knowing builders. You had to really know contractors, insurance folks, lawyers. You had to really know these people. You had to really know them. You could not internet post forever, right? That's all. There are hundreds in Texas. Okay. I bought your book, doing exactly what it says. We'll keep you posted. Congratulations. Lovely. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Thank you. Did I miss anybody? Oh, big money. Big money. Big money. Thank you, Miss Erica. Your advice has changed my life from tech jobs to investment. Congratulations. Hey, ain't seen you in a minute. What's good? My cousin got work in celebrity. And again, the rates are only going like this. They're hopping. They can't focus on all 50 states, all 50 cities. They can't. They can only, it's going to be temporary. Y'all keep forgetting that when Obama came in, 5.3 million people were deported under Obama. Obama is the deportation leader, okay? Not only that, when Obama was in, people bought guns at all-time highs. I know YouTube's going to knock me for this, but I already know I'm going to take the hit. But I promise you, it was at all-time highs. Why? Because people fears. It just was. It just was. Listen, I don't listen to anybody. If anybody's telling you not to buy a home and the responsibilities and like it to me, I don't trust anybody. I'm like, are you the feds? You got a wire? Pull your shirt up. Let me see your wire. Because if you haven't paid attention to the last 20 years of our society, let's even go down to the last 5 years, because most people aren't paying attention, and that is what it is. If you haven't noticed in the last 5 years, the only people in our country, in our whole United States, that's doing well is not renters. It's homeowners. And people are like, no, Erica, the floods, the insurance, the Florida, and homeowners insurance. Anybody who's talking about homeowners insurance being high is a person who, one, is lazy. Let's just go there. They won't go fight for homestead exemption in their state. Two, they won't argue with the downtown about the price of their increase. They won't do an escrow waiver and separate their insurance from their mortgage. You can do that even here in Texas. They won't go call around and get a different policy. They're like, oh, I can't believe the prices went up. I can't do nothing about it. That's not true. You can still buy homes in Florida for $285,000. Big homes. That's why people still going to keep moving to Florida. The marketing against Florida and Texas is hilarious to me, because we've been marketing for 10 years, not me, the media, social media, for 10 years how great Florida has been, how great Texas has been, how great North Carolina has been, how great Tennessee is. Now, somebody who's struggling financially, or who in the back of their head is like, I just got to move, I got to go. It's not working, I got to get out of here. Guess what they're thinking on? Texas, Florida. It's the marketing is already built in. Let me give you an example. How many people do you know, put a one in the comments, was like, I'm moving to Atlanta? sometime in the last 20 years told you they was moving to Atlanta. Tell me how many New Yorkers you know are like, oh, I'm moving south. Just throwing it out there. They're moving south. Where south? I don't know, south. I'm moving to Florida. I'm leaving. This is a common story. Dr. D tell you all the time, you run to people all the time, I'm moving to Atlanta. Well, what? You ain't got no skills. You ain't got no car. Where you going? Again, this is the marketing department. It's just like when people tell me they're going on vacation in Dubai. For what? You ain't got no money. You ain't going over there to shop. What you going over there for? I'm going to Africa. What part? What I saw on social media. I'm going to Puerto Rico. Right? The marketing department is very strong, but the marketing department on social media will never, ever promote you to do the thing that makes the most financial sense. Grant Cardone out here owning multiple homes for millions of dollars, telling you don't buy a home. I'm not going to knock him, but earn your leisure. He had a bad deal he put together with real estate with some builder. And now he's all like, yeah, don't buy a home. They're bad for you. Ever since he went to go to Congress, I'm going to go there. Ever since they went to Congress, talking to Democrats, they come back and telling you, yeah, don't buy a home. It's a terrible deal. In the Black community, where we see in California right now, the really only true Black millionaires in California aren't tech guys. They're the Black grandmas who are 93 years old, who bought a house with her husband in 1960 near LA for $16,000, and now it's worth $3-4 million. That's your real Black millionaires. Whether you want to go there or not, 80% of Black families will have over, I think they just studied over 700,000 people with high net worths. 80% was in real estate or a business. When they did the reverse of white families over 700,000 in net worth, 80% was in stock market or business. So the house that your grandma owns is her true wealth. The land she owns is her true wealth. I did a video saying how the biggest wealth transfer in America is going to be a huge disappointment to a lot of people, because they're going to realize, hey, my grandma left me 20 grand when she died. That ain't nothing. She left you an acre, baby. You can sell that for 150, 300,000, depending on the city or state. You're rich. But people don't want to hear that, because the average and when people receive an inheritance, if it's cash money, they've done studies on this for like 50 years or 100 years. I think, if I remember the study right, you're spending it in 9 months. Whether it's millions of dollars like the Vanderbilts or it's a couple $100, you'll spend it on average in 9 months. It'll be gone. So what's the true boomer and marketer of this economy is real estate. It just is. I remember we had the coffee shop in Fayetteville across from Fayetteville State University. If anybody's from Fayetteville, you know what I'm talking about. There was an Asian family that owned a Chinese food restaurant. Mom could barely speak English. Dad could barely speak English, but the sons was basically running everything. They bought a house around the corner for $30K cash because they had leftover money they had saved up. And then they had said, oh, yeah, we hate being over that side of town, but we're going to rent it out. We've got enough money now to buy a house across town. And I was like, dang, that's fast. It was like 6 months. And it's because they're saving. Everybody's in this one house, 2 sons and 2 parents, working a restaurant night and day, and realize, okay, we painted this house, cleaned it up. Now we can move on to another house. And I think by the 3rd year, I think their mom had a stroke. So I've told y'all that story before where she had a stroke, but they had money to care for her and kept on moving. She just was doing less work in the restaurant, unfortunately. A lot of these Hispanic families that you guys think is going to be hurting from this RAID system, ICE, they're not. They're not. They're sitting on cash. I lived in the neighborhood off of Runberg with our friend when she flipped a house. And long the story short, he had 3 F-350s. Yeah, they're F-350s parked alongside his house because he had the corner lot. And he had these trailers that drove everybody crazy, but he was in roofing. So the guys would come to his house, move a truck, park their car, and then they would be gone all day, and he'd park the trucks again in the afternoons. Now, I think they ended up parking the trailer somewhere else because somebody complained in the neighborhood or called somebody. I don't know who, because we didn't have HOA, code enforcement or something. But literally, you're like, this dude has 3 F-350s. He's running a roofing company. Trust me, he's sitting on some reserves. They know capitalism. Listen, when I tell y'all the seasons in this country and in life, I'm telling y'all, from January to April, half the country's kind of still waking up. Oh, it's been a long winter. You're like, it's April. right? But you're talking about Minnesota. You're talking about some places where it's just now getting warm. Detroit, they're just waking up. They're getting into a slow rhythm, right? Other parts of the country, Texas, Florida, Sun Belt, we're rolling. We're farming. We're starting the farm year today, you know, right? But May through August, it's gangbusters. It's gangbusters in America. It's parents crying about the kids eating them out of house and home. They can't afford to give little Billy a haircut because they don't got no money. And it's people preparing for school. August to October, it's like kids back in school, don't care. Money gets back stable. October to December, it's all about the holidays. So if you pull yourself out of the worker bee mode just for a second, and you really stand back, a lot of these people know they just gotta wait. They'll wait till May, and y'all gonna be like, oh, we can't get any roofs done in time. And ICE is gonna do this. They're gonna be like, did you see them people? I didn't see no people. You see them people? I didn't see no people, Erica. I ain't seen no people all month. That's what ICE is gonna do in May. What people? What illegals? There was illegals out here. Where were they? I can't see. Can you see Bob? I can't see. I can't see Fred. That's what's going to happen. And I know it because I see it listen, you come out here to Texas in the summer, man. And I went in this house one time. This guy was a black brother with dreadlocks down his back, putting the cabinets up by himself. I was like, he's on the ladder by himself. He's doing all by himself. I was like, damn, bro, don't you need some help? But minding my business. He's doing his job. But I'm telling you, I see brothers out here in construction all day, every day. In Dallas, you'll see brothers in construction from Detroit every day, all day. Every day, all day. And what happens is when you hear the stories of people being homeless and destitute, and you're like, oh my God, if they could just get it right. If they got any type of handyman skills, in under a year, they'll be straight. They'll have an apartment, a house, a car, and keep on moving. I saw a painter the other day in a Honda, was it a Fusion? It was a 4-seater. Anyway, and he had his whole ladder. The trunk, it was like pulled the seat down through there and all this paint and stuff. And I said, that man getting to it. He may be down right now. He may have wrecked his truck, but trust me, he getting to it. Home prices are steadily increasing here in Atlanta. Y'all, the projections for Atlanta, Dallas, Atlanta, St. Petersburg, Tampa, weirdly enough, Orlando, but I'll come back to Orlando in another video. I'll see if Diamond Dave can come in. It's nothing but hyperbolic. Y'all gotta remember when I'm talking about the marketing that goes into Florida, you're talking about the Golden Girls. That was in the 90s. That's been a game plan for people forever. I'm gonna move to Florida. I'm gonna retire in Florida. I'm gonna live off 2 oranges in Florida forever. Your military service or life experience is what you make of it. If you change relations with a club, you can't be upset with the outcome versus stay focused and reap the benefits. Yeah. There's a thing I see a lot of people talking about, oh, you guys are chasing fame because you didn't get fame in high school and all these lanes out here. And it's like, baby, you still talking about high school? Your life ain't been much. Oh, you already know. You got choices. You can't be a part of wealth conversation if you don't own land. You can't. It doesn't make any sense. When someone starts talking to me about crypto and I get it. I'm talking about active versus passive income stuff. When people start talking to me about crypto and this and that, and look, I have this job that makes me $150K a year. I'm like, so do a bunch of the government workers. If I forgot the exact number of how many government workers actually quit and don't show up to work, the government will save $100 billion. $100 billion first year out of the game. You think Trump cared that you mad? He gonna tell all these government workers that's in their 50s, these aunties and uncles, if you don't come back in the office, you could pack it up. That's what they would do in the private sector. But see, people have been in government so long, they're like, what? I have to show up? I have to come to work today in the office? What? Y'all, let me tell you, I call the IRS all the time. I be hearing people dogs barking in the background. I be hearing people hanging out. They're like they barbecuing at their house. I'm like, baby, this is the IRS. They let y'all work from home like this? This ain't gonna do. This ain't gonna work. So listen, again, a lot of people are like, oh, Trump's terrible. America. In Thai City, I like making fun of him calling it grandpa country. But I'm telling you, they just gotta make it look good for the next 6 months, y'all. That's it. If for the first 6 months of his administration, he deported a bunch of people, he gave you school choice, he reduced some taxes, he made the interest rates, quotation mark, made them come down. If you know anything about, and I think Diamond did some great videos on this, the president doesn't control the interest rates. Okay, Jerome Powell. There's layers to this. There's levels to this. He doesn't control the interest rates, but if they do come down, which they'll never be as low as they were before, it's a win, y'all. Second term's a win. Now you're gonna have people coming about 2 years trying to run on a campaign of like, it's been terrible, it's been horrible. Aren't you scared? Aren't you scared of him there? Look how scary it is. And people gonna be like, not really. Not really. Again, you probably see the son of ConocoPhillips, the adopted son of ConocoPhillips run, Gavin Newsom, and there's like 2 other people. They've already built these people into the equation, y'all. Because they're already, if you look at Gavin Newsom, the son of ConocoPhillips, they're very moderate people. They seem like a regular brown hair white guy. Like, hey, you guys, what's the commotion? Why can't we be a little happier too and help the homeless? Programs. What's the problem? They're very neutral white guys you meet at a picnic or something. So they're trying to already build the narrative that we've had enough crazy. Let's get back to normal. They're already building it in. For sure. That's the thing. It's like, again, I did a whole video. I fed some beeps. I don't know if you saw it. I did it on California. I did 2 hours worth of a video on California. I'm telling you, California is a 5-year build out. All right. Before you know it, they're going to be talking about the Olympics. And they're going to need all hands on deck on the Olympics, construction wise. And at the same time, Palisades. And at the same time, some construction that's been overdue, overdue in California. There you go. Congratulations. I didn't know school choice wasn't nationwide. There you go. There you go. The lake is 10 minutes away, so Airbnb is a great idea. Yeah. Okay. Let me see your wire. Speak facts. As the agent, it's all true. Let me see. Let me go down here. I moved to Atlanta 10 years ago. There you go. White Hills Beach. Yep. Even small town of Houston, my mindset has saved me and my family. Forever grateful for you and sub. Thank you. Congratulations. Thank you. I just want y'all to understand, like, when I fly out of Texas and I go to other states, I'm like, damn, are y'all struggling? What's happening out here? Y'all okay? Like, I'm telling you, it's real dead. There's some parts of Florida I go, ooh, it's dead over here. There's some parts of Tennessee outside of Nashville, Chattanooga, Knoxville. It's real dead. Memphis is doing stuff, but other than that, you're like, yeesh. You go to Arkansas in general, you're like, ugh. But you go to Fayetteville, Arkansas, hey. You go over there by Walmart, it's busting. Okay. So I want you to understand, like, the action that's going on. Like, when they had 49 states report all this unemployment, what state didn't report no unemployment? Texas. I mean, y'all say what you will. Like, people like, they keep trying to sell Texas. I'm not. I'm just telling you, are you in a position to make money from this? Because many people say, well, Erica, I'm never leaving the Midwest. I'm just going to stay. And all these people leave. It means there's going to be opportunity, right? I mean, sure. You can get lots of opportunity staying right where you are in the Midwest. But you'll never have the turnover and traction rates of the Southeast for the next 20 years. You just won't have it. Population, it's not there. Interest is not there. When they said they sent Caitlin Clark, I'm sorry. When they sent Caitlin Clark to that team, I said that's the best thing happened for Indiana since being near Chicago. That's it. Ain't nobody want to go to Indiana. Indiana Pacers? Shit, the NBA players don't know what Indiana Pacers. Getting paid millions of dollars. You're like, I gotta go to Indiana. All right. I guess I'll go there. I'm now in college for cybersecurity. People don't understand Atlanta just started to grow. I'm telling you, anybody who's in Atlanta, and I know y'all upset. I saw a friend, she just sold her house in Atlanta, and then she sold it for $485. I asked her how much she bought it for. She bought it for, and this is multiple stairs up. First floor is the garage. You walk up the stairs. How many floors is that? I think it's three floors. I may be wrong, but it's in that hilly part of Atlanta. And she sold it for $488. Y'all, she bought it for $185. Not even 10 years ago. Not even 10 years ago, y'all. No, 11 years. Because I came to Texas in 2011. That is 11 years. And so I'm sitting here and I'm telling y'all, you're telling me this woman gets to walk away at $300,000 on the upside. Okay. All right. Oh, Erica. Okay. All right. Tell me more. Good luck. There are places right now here in Austin. You used to be, if you moved to Round Rock, you paid $700 in rent for a 2-bedroom. I promise y'all, when I first moved to Texas, Austin, you moved to Round Rock, you got a 2-bedroom for $750. I went by a place just to go look and be nosy because I saw this new construction. I wanted to be nosy. And they were renting these townhouses, big, spacious, big rooms upstairs, bigger than some houses, for $3,000 a month. And that was on the low end. They had ones going for $4,000. I said, who in their mind would pay this? And I said, let me stop saying that, because there's always some engineer. There's always somebody from California. There's always somebody from another state, New York, wherever. There were a lot of retirees in that neighborhood. Like when I saw the people going down the stairs, they were older Black folks, older white folks. I was like, you don't know who, right? But people have this thought, I'm going to save money on repairs. You really aren't. You're going to pay either way. I don't think y'all understand. You're going to pay either way. You're going to pay via the apartment complex because they're going to pass the debt off to you. They're passing their property tax off to you. They're passing everything off to you. They're passing their management fees off to you. I don't think y'all understand that. It's not going to be this cheap thing. Like, I'm going to find a cheap apartment somewhere. You're going to find a trailer an hour outside of town, maybe. I'm loving it. Those who want to work will get the fruit. Those who just want to hand it to them will struggle. Hispanics' wealth have gone up 13.7% in the past 4 years. And it's very simple. Buy a house. Have a business. That's it. That's it. That's all. I know a few truckers that are plotting on Cali right now. I can believe it. Freight. Yep. But again, they're going to stop you for what? Emissions. Your truck is not qualified to go through their state. Y'all already know how this game going to play. Denver. So here's the thing. I'm going to say Denver's peak was 2016. If you look at all the data, and I wish I could pull up a chart. I know what chart I want to pull up. But if you look at the data, 2016 was the peak for Denver. Now, Denver's still on it's riding the roller coaster wave, but the peak was 2016. Doesn't mean it's bad. I'm just saying when it comes to data, it's 2016. It's 2016 was the peak in Denver, and now it's still millions of dollars. It's just like this, like the data for the investment is going down. Still high, still very rambunctious, right? Because when you have all the California people in, now the deal isn't as juicy anymore. It's not a cool deal anymore, right? Same thing with Utah, Salt Lake City, Utah right now. It's a deal still, right? Las Vegas, a lot of people are like, oh, I'm not going to Las Vegas. It's just a ton of California folks. It's not a deal anymore. Doesn't mean it isn't busting. It's just not a deal anymore. And this is true. Again, they did school choice in Indiana State wide years ago. Just had to pay for your own transportation. Helped a lot of Black kids get into better schools. Listen, 80% environment, 20% willpower. You may have a good kid, a nice kid. And I have a friend who has a shy son. And the school he would have been going to, I said he'd have had to turn to a little villain to stay there. And you have to know what type of child you have. You have to be invested enough to know, well, I was bullied as a kid, or I went through tough stuff as a kid, and they'll be fine. These kids are unaliving themselves. Are you kidding me? You gotta really lock in. This is You have a small window of time, and I'll be very clear. If you ever listen to Tim Jackson talk about it from 8 to 12 years old, you catch your son 8 to 12, and you put him on the right path, and you get him surrounded by mentors, you get him locked in, you're good. You don't, now you got little Jerome at 16 breaking into cars doing crazy stuff, and you're like, what happened to my baby? You didn't have him on a path. You didn't have him in the environment. These kids are watching nonstop brainwashing television and shit online that tells them you need to act like a thug. You need to act like a dumbass. That's being black. Yeah, be a dumbass. No, no, no. What type of black you talking about? I'm over here in middle class black. Actually, I'm up on the upper middle class black, but that's a whole nother conversation, right? I saw this girl was saying she was looking for a job for her daughter, and the lady was like, I'm gonna be careful on this one. I'm just gonna say, if you are looking for a job for your daughter, before your daughter got to that age, you should have been calling around your friends asking in certain career paths, do you have internships? Do you have A, B, and C? And a lot of people do not think of it to their child. Oh my God, my child's 19. That's crazy. What? My nephews have been working within our grandparents and our family's businesses since they've been 14. Like, you create opportunity for your child, no one else. If you can't create it, you need to be surrounding them by people who can create it. And y'all gonna get older and older and see this is very much true. You're gonna get to a point where you're like, where are the jobs at for the young people? Again, this is part of if you see Professor G, he hates Trump. Boy, he hates Trump. But his biggest thing was the kids are not all right. A lot of white people waking up and their son or daughter is not doing okay financially, and they don't know what to do about it. They're freaking out. All right, let me see if I can still pull it up. I may not be able to. He said basically that was the election. You know, why why things didn't go well. Dang. Okay, hold on. Let me see. Let me see. Oh, I think I have it. I don't, y'all. Dang. You know, I be thinking I be having it. I don't, but I'm gonna show it to you though. I'm gonna show it to you. And there's a white girl called Financial Diet. I want y'all to pay attention, right? Because Black America be like, you guys understand, it's America's, we're dying out here, and I'm like, y'all don't interact with other groups of people. And it's no disrespect. A lot of people only associate with people that look like them and talk like them, and I get it. And I'm gonna show y'all real quick. Oh shit! All right. Real estate is only keeping up with core inflation, i.e., money printer. Bitcoin is the only way to increase purchasing power over time, 4+ years. Sir, we're not gonna do that today. I'm gonna let you say that and keep moving. America was literally built on handouts, then black farmers. I'm gonna let you roll with that. I'm gonna let you just, But Grant Cardone says, don't buy a house. Don't sleep on Indiana. It's building like Dallas. Listen, I'm gonna tell you like this. There is a young man who had a blog, and I've posted it here before, where he left Austin, Texas to go to Indiana to flip house in Indiana. Now, I remember on HGTV, the mom and daughter with the red head, what's their names? And they were flipping houses in Indiana, selling them to people. Now, let me just say this, and I'm gonna just tell y'all this, okay? I'm gonna just say this, and I don't want y'all to be upset. The Midwest is a zombie zone. Now, hear me out before you cuss me out. Zombies still make money every day. 20% of businesses in America are zombie businesses. Toys R Us was a zombie business. It made millions every year, but it was a few million short of their bill they had to pay. Right? Okay. And the way I want y'all to explain to you is like, people like Detroit, they're putting billions of dollars in Detroit. Erica, look at all the billions of dollars in Detroit. Yeah. your core population is undereducated. Your core population has 2 or 3 industries they're good at. That's about it, right? You have to bring the people there. You have to entice people to come there for that to have life in it. Tulsa, Oklahoma was paying $10,000 for people to come there. Now, what do people really do when I go to all these conferences, when I go to masterminds and I'm spending money in the rooms? They're looking at Cleveland, Detroit, Indiana, Kentucky, parts of PA as flip homes, right? Like if I want to use if I only have like 300,000 and I want to be big baller, I can take that 300,000. I can be big baller in Detroit by buying up a bunch of houses. I can do that, buy a bunch of properties in Cleveland. But eventually my goal is to roll my portfolio the hell out of there into the Southeast or into where bigger money is. So yes, do you see a lot of stuff going on? Do you see Cincinnati being gangbusters? All that money that was going into Detroit when they would not enforce removing people out of homes, court evictions, all that stuff. When they would not enforce it, billions of dollars said, no problem. We go over here, Cincinnati. And you can actually track the companies that went from Detroit to Cincinnati. You can track it. A lot of the investment firms, BlackRock, all those people, they were investing in buying hundreds of thousands of homes in Ohio. So if you ask somebody about Ohio, Ohio's doing good. No, those are outside forces coming in, buying the land up for cheap, rehabbing them. So it looks like there's construction and money movement, but it's a zombie play. I know 80% of people live with an hour within their mother, according to the IRS. The IRS has so much data that they'll tell you that the average person 80% of people live less than an hour from their mother. And they're based that off of your data. So if they know you're not going to leave Ohio because your mama's there, your cousin's there, you got to take care of your mom. It's going to be like, look, see, it's still pretty good over here. Oh, Detroit sucks, but go to Lansing. Cleveland sucks, but go to Cincinnati, right? Chicago sucks, but go up to north, right? This part of Indiana sucks, so go to Indianapolis, right? You don't have many states like the boomtown states, and that is, yes, Colorado, that is Utah, that is Tennessee, that is North Carolina, South Carolina, that is Georgia, that have boom areas in more than one part of the state. The Midwest is a zombie play. Anybody that knows retirement pension funds, Kentucky's pension funds going broke. Parts of the Midwest pension funds are going broke. The only way they can play the game is by taking what's left of the pension fund, invested in certain markets in the stock market, and 2, investing it in what? Massive private families. And the private families, all they're doing is buying they can buy up a bunch of junk properties, right? How do we get the duplex in Cleveland? A Swedish company who owned 150 duplexes in Cleveland. When it came time to repair them, instead of repairing them, they dump them. They keep them for about 6 to 10 years, let them run down into the ground, dump them. Dump them. They don't reinvest. This is why when people say, oh, we need outside country investment. Why? They ain't gonna do it but dump them. Attention industry, yes, it is 2025. It's just a numbers game. That business model is just a business game. The Midwest will be a new development zone. I know people want to. It's gonna be the sun gonna rise and set on the South for a minute. You got areas right now in the South that are so cheap. You can get 20 acres for $50,000 in parts of Middle Tennessee and parts of South Carolina. The problem with Georgia is Georgia outside of Atlanta is real redneckish. But in the next 10 years, that's what you're going to see. There's just so much in the Southeast. And this is not me coming out of my like, oh, you just love the South because you're South. Like, I'm going off pure data, reports. These companies are making long-term investments, not in the Midwest. They're literally liquidating as much as they can out of the Midwest and literally dumping billions into the Southeast. So yeah. Listen, environment's just the biggest change. Let me see. Hold on. let me focus, because y'all know I got ADHD and I got to go to my lunch date with my girls. But let me, this is, and again, not that white people are perfect or everything's great, yada, yada, yada. She wrote a book, Beyond Getting By. That's a whole nother conversation. But this is a white girl who, you know, she literally just once a month, and she's married. She's very much liberal, drops a video, very researched, right? On just financial data. And I can respect her because it's straight financial data. Like, you may not like the bend of it, but there's a lot of liberal stuff here on YouTube that it's actually not terrible. You know, Rich Dad Poor Dad, Living Out Your Car, Feminism Flop, you know, you know, the lean-in curse of having it all, how that didn't work, right? You know, how is everybody on vacation? This cracks me up every single time. The scarcity economy, why it feels like you're never going to catch up, right? These are, if you can hold your biases enough to watch some of these videos, these people do a great breakdown job of this stuff. And again, you know, girl boss culture, you know, rant on cheap people, you know, self-care industry. Listen, she just does a good job. She's a good job. And I give it to her, right? Money conversations, what 50K looks like in New York, making 85K versus 30K, changing friends. Y'all, and I give it to her. I just give it to her, right? Because I know it takes a lot of money in the level of research she does on these. It takes a lot, but she getting paid, baby. I know her AdSense checks are juicy. Okay, you can go look on Social Blade, but it's never actually correct. But I'll tell you, if you're in the financial industry and you have a video do 30-some thousand views, that's $1,000 video. And her videos do 700,000 views, 60,000 views, 80,000 views. You do the math. We can talk about this on another day. Let me show you this. That's one I recommend. This, and I used to love this professor. I'm not even trying to be disrespectful. I loved him, but he is so bent twist on Donald Trump, it's exhausting. But I'll play a clip of him. Again, this is Professor G, Scott Galloway, kind of a melancholy dude, took care of his mom till she died, and then realized, man, I'm like, life is short, went, got married, had all these kids, etc., right? That's most people's life. They don't realize life is short until they're like, oh, damn, I might die. Let me hear him go get a wife and some kids. And he lives in Europe majority of his time, but he made all his money in America. And he was always joking, like, Europe is behind America. It's just, it's dying because they don't have the same type of grit, motivation. A lot of Europe is managing somebody else's wealth. So they're not going to be risky with that. If you watch the show Industry that Diamond Dave recommended, it's the same. You'll see it there. Like, the girl is from the United States, but she's in London, and everybody's kind of just managing wealthy people's money and getting their time to manage wealthy people's money, because that's the only way in London, in that particular market, you make money. Right? Okay, so again, you can check out his stuff here. He does a really good job, but he was literally on a whole tangent about Donald Trump. Let me see if that's not the video I want to show, but there's one where he went off and they had to, like, Scott, you got to chill out. Chill out, Scott. Let me see. Let me see. They talked about romance is dying, you know, different things like that, but it's also because things cost money. Things cost money. Okay, here we go. Yeah, I think I can get away with this. Let me play this one clip for y'all. Let me play this one. All right. Are y'all enjoying this content? Is this working for y'all? Don't drop a 1 in the comments. I know it's been a minute. I'm a little rusty. I haven't been live. I've been doing pre-records, but I appreciate y'all. What are your thoughts about buying a home in NC, moving to Raleigh? Cary? Listen, Cary is expensive now. When I was leaving college, when I was done with college, and everybody was showing their, you know, you had your paper, your job offer, you could go get into a townhouse, and these were brand new townhouses for $55,000 in Cary, North Carolina. They were still clearing off trees and building in Cary, North Carolina. It was a new area. All these Northerners should start moving there. That same townhouse, old as it is now, is $450,000. So that tells you anything about Cary. Like you can go look on realtor.com and spend the whole day in Cary and look at $1 million if you want to. It's going over into parts of Asia and South America. For sure. Yep. Pension funds. It's going crazy. It's all good. Middle Tennessee. Listen, I look at little farms all the time. I'll be like, I could be 30 minutes from Nashville. There's a tract of land. I got a book coming out, and I've been working on it for months now. It's not like just my ebooks, but I've been working on it. When I talk about relocation cities, there's a highway from Nashville to Chattanooga, Tennessee. Y'all not ready. Y'all not ready. Y'all not ready. You're not. You're not ready. Listen, Atlanta and Georgia, two different places. Two different places. I'm talking about a whole staff. Y'all, do you understand when I tell you some of these YouTube people have 18 people helping make the video? Their Belief in Fatherhood had 9 people on staff, and he was wore out. He was like, I need a break. He had 9 people on staff. He's like, this is so hard managing people. People are not really ready for it. They're not. They're not ready for real conversations that the way YouTube, if you really want to run it like a business, if you really out here putting out these clips, I'm telling you, I'm talking about 100,000 a month minimum. If you pay attention, even I'm gonna leave it alone. That's a conversation for delivery warriors, but big money. It's crazy expensive. I'm telling you, they deep there. Jabrash, I keep telling people like, don't move to Cary unless you're really in tech. You might as well move on further out. I'm not gonna say go to Clayton, that's too far, but I'm gonna say go and move further out, right? But the traffic in Raleigh is what pisses people off. But I'm like, baby, don't go to Cary if you ain't really try to do that. Go for Alabama. Yeah, they already been rolling, but look up 30A by Florida. Look up 30A. That's already been a big investment. Let me show you this right here. Let me show you Scott's Callaway because he's about to wig out. Okay. I'm gonna play some of this right here.
Run through, if you will. I've seen you talking about this in speeches. Talk about how the system is rigged. So if you got $1 million, great. If you got 5 million, 10 million, even better. Life gets easier because the way our tax system's set up.
Yeah, we have a very progressive tax system until you get to about the 99th percent. And essentially the people who get most damaged by our current tax code, it's lower and middle income households, their taxes have gone up slightly because of consumption, but not because of federal. The people that really get hurt are what I call the workhorses. And that are people who make an exceptionally good living, but it's all current income. And they live in a blue state. They might be paying 50 to 54% tax rate. I bet some of those people are on around this table right now.
Yes.
But if you can make the jump to Lightspeed and invest in assets, stocks, housing, then your tax rate plummets. So in America, we've decided to try and create a super class of billionaires. And then if they win the gold medal, we're going to give them the silver and the bronze. 2 biggest tax deductions, capital gains and mortgage interest. Who owns homes and stocks? People my age. Who doesn't know? Who rents and makes their money from current income? Young people. So we've decided that the wealthiest people in the world should get exceptionally more wealthy. Minimum wage stuck at $9.25. Stock market is screamed up. The average 70-year-old is 72% wealthier than they were 40 years ago. The average person under the age of 40 is 24% less wealthy. We are purposely transferring more wealth from the poor and middle class to the upper class to the super rich, and from young to old.
And you say in the book, which is true and alarming, but let's say a 30-year-old American in America right now is doing no better than his or her parents. Then that's a new thing in American history that you would think over time, we want to do better than the next generation, than the last generation. It's not happening anymore.
I think it all ties into what we're talking about on campuses. For the first time in our nation's history, a 30-year-old man or woman isn't doing as well as his or her parents were at 30. That is the social compact breaking down. People aged 30 to 34, 60% of them in 1990 had one child. Now it's 27%. People are opting out of America. They're not optimistic about it. They're not having kids. Young people aren't having sex. They're not meeting. They're not mating. The pool of emotionally and economically viable men.
I just want y'all to understand. The internet will have you believe everybody's hooking up going wild. Everybody's doing it. And I promise you, the data, the scientists, the people at the hospitals, it's a very, very, very 1%. It's a very, very, very 1%. You know, the average person is not going out of their house. They're not spending a lot of money at bars, clubs. Again, that's why so many people are like, I want to go outside of America and I'm going to travel overseas. And overseas is so much better than America. And it's only because they have enough money to walk around looking lost like a tourist in poor countries. And so they think, I'm winning. I'm chasing poor girls in some country and I can take her to eat and she spends $11 for dinner. This is great. Okay. But when they keep telling you over and over again, stocks, real estate, the past 100 years in this country, stocks, real estate, and businesses were the way you got wealthy. And people try to do mathematical gymnastics to not invest in the stock market, not invest in housing, and not start a business, and then be like, why am I the average guy struggling? I have a friend who owns an eye practice and a friend who owns a dentist office, and they make more money than the average person. They got people working for them. But even they complain about feeling the effects of inflation and the cost of paying people and people working. Like, even they're complaining. So let me finish this clip. I just want to break it up. You know, fair use.
Shrinks every day, which lessens household formation. So we have a real issue. Young people are enraged. So it turns every cut, every movement into an opportunistic infection because, quite frankly, they are just pissed off. They look up, they see wealth, exceptional wealth across my generation and people in certain industries, and they are really struggling. Their purchasing power is going down, and the incumbents create artificial scarcity on campus. We take pride in rejecting 90% of our applicants. So the incumbents who already have a degree see the degree go up in value. We get very concerned with housing and traffic once we own the housing. Housing permits are sequestered from young people. Housing prices have gone from $290 to $420 in the last 4 years. So a young person, a house, stocks that I don't own skyrocket in value. Let's have COVID relief and flush the markets and take assets way up, because if 1 million people dying would be bad, it would be tragic if I got less wealthy. And we're doing it on their credit card. Young people have every reason to be enraged, and every issue they see, they look up, they get angry, and they see someone doing better than them. And then every day it is speedballed in their face that they are failing, that they are not doing as well as everyone around them. We have lost the script. Our kids are more anxious and more depressed and more obese and more addicted. And we have made a purposeful decision to let this happen by ensuring the people around this table stay wealthy at the cost of young people.
So, Scott, what the social element of that, that's the economic element, the social elements that you mentioned, the happiness, the anxiety, all of those things, that kids aren't getting together anymore, that they're not having kids. What happened in one generation? Social media has to play a role in it, I'm sure. But what else do you see that has created this climate for this generation?
I think you have the most talented, well-resourced people in the world and companies trying to convince a young man that he can have a reasonable facsimile of life in his basement behind a screen. You don't need friends. Go on Reddit or Discord. You don't need to get a job. Go on Robinhood or Coinbase and trade crypto and stocks. You don't need to go through the rejection and the expense and the humiliation and working out and having a plan and humor and showering to get a romantic relationship. You have YouPorn. So we have an entire generation, especially of young men, who are out home sequestering from society and missing out on what it means. You know, there's a reason romantic comedies are 2 hours and not 15 minutes. True victory in life is hard. Going out, meeting someone, finding mentors, finding mates, that stuff is hard, but that's what real victory in real life is like. And because a lot of men feel rejected on dating apps, the number of jobs that are accessible to them has gone down. You have essentially a group of men who are saying, I want a low-risk entry into life. And they go down a rabbit hole. When they don't have social connections, and they don't get out, and they don't have the prospect of a romantic relationship, they're more prone to conspiracy theory. They're more prone to misogynistic content. They're less likely to believe in climate change. And some, they become really bad citizens. We are producing too many of the most dangerous person in the world, and that is a young, broke, and lonely young man.
Why is it that so many of these young people that you're talking about seem to head into life after going to 4-year schools or 2-year schools or whatever, head into life with a lack of financial literacy? They don't know anything about money or the growth of money. All they know is the absence of money.
I think we need to have in our curriculums in high school a class on adulting. My kid, I see it in my house. My kid can do integers and basic calculus, but he doesn't understand the interest on his credit card. So there's just some basic kind of financial literacy that we're not teaching. And when you start replacing civics with computer science, you lose a sense of the country and you start learning about programming. And when you don't talk about basic financial literacy or even mating, I would like to see in the senior year of college mating dynamics and help men understand and women what is unique to them and their vulnerabilities to social media. I was talking about the challenges of men from social media. At exactly the wrong time in a young girl's life, she is presented with a valuation where she never gets to leave the high school cafeteria 24/7. And as my colleague Jonathan Haidt has pointed out, we've seen a dramatic uptick in suicide. But I think effectively, we just don't have basic skills for young people. We're teaching them advanced things, but we're not teaching them the basics around what a mortgage is, what interest rates mean. So I think we could use just a basic class on adulting, junior or senior year.
Hey everyone, MSN.
Okay. Woo. All right. I hope I didn't depress everybody. I was so depressing. His name is Scott Galloway. I love him, but he's so upset with Trump. I know that was depressing. Put a 1 in the comments if you're still here, if you recovered from that. I know that was tough to hear. I know that's a lot. And I want y'all to be okay. Because when I hear it, it depresses the crap out of me. Like, I have a nephew that turned 18 and I'm like, okay, who are you talking to? Where are you going? Are you going out? Are you meeting people? And he's probably like, if you don't get out of my face, but he's doing well, right? I hope I didn't depress everybody with that, but that's what I listen to. That's what I research. And the fact that suicides are going up unalived. I know YouTube doesn't like that. Historically, women who had high unalive rates were women who had breast implants. Why is that? If you're willing to go through the craziness of going to get a breast implant and body modifications, you probably are in a downward spiral that will not get better. And so historically, the rates for unaliving with women was women who had breast implants, people who had body modifications. Now you see all these people out here with these BBLs, and these BBLs ain't going right. And a lot of these women, unfortunately, I don't think are going to be in a good, healthy mental state. Okay. But again, this is the truth. This is why when I go on YouTube, I'm so anti. Ty City did a good thing where you're saying like, the manosphere should be, about getting skills, shooting guns, going places, doing stuff, not complaining about women all day. That's not manly. That's not normal. It's not. And for girls, this competition of like all this makeup and all this dress up, and it's like, what are y'all doing? Like they can't go out and be normal and civilized with people. Y'all don't understand. It's out here. It's getting real crazy. Time to boss up. Stop popping the balloon, go get a job. Listen, the white man's not on top anymore. He ain't been on top for a while. Scott Galloway, yes, that's his name. Let me see. Every time I go back to Fayetteville, I'm inspired by the parkers of 295. My childhood friends complain about stuff is getting expensive. I'm like, bro, get into tech construction. When I go to Fayetteville and I see people who haven't bought a house, I already know. Again, yeah, they're trying to convince people they're not social creatures when you're supposed to be out and talking to people, interacting with people. Yes, it's a very good one. That's a good one too. This isn't men. It's the government failing our people, both parties. It is on men though. It is, right? Because we've kind of crammed all the people into college when we significantly used to, and this has been happening in high school for years. High school had home ec, it had car repair, it had construction stuff, hammer nails, music. It had very physical components of interaction and things to do with your hands. When we took out the stuff with things to do with your hands, we have a high numbers of certain Black, white, poor white, and Latino men just drop out. It's nothing here for me to do but sit here and listen to you talk all day. I'm not doing that. They know that. The data has shown it. They know it. They have lost engagement. But instead of the government and schools saying, well, this ain't working, let's go back to where it was in 1950s, 60s, 70s. We always had a lot of physical hand engagement, hand-eye coordination stuff for kids to do, not just sports, not just PE, hand-eye coordination kind of activities for people to do. And once we take that out of the school, it just completely destroys it. right? When we had, you could leave high school as a man with plumbing, electrical, the basics at least in New York. And when they took that out of schools in New York, Black men in New York, levels of construction, boom through the toilet, right? Everybody doesn't have a Poppy or a Julio or a Omar they can follow around all day, right? And so it's just dangerous. Yeah. It's very sad. Toxins in the water, all this stuff. Again, if you're not home ec, you don't know how to cook. It used to be times where people will burn food, like the obsession with the way people look is over the top, right? Because if a person looks okay, then they are okay, right? That's kind of the mindset people have out here. It's really scary. It's like, well, look how pretty she is. And then like, yeah, she murdered a man. Oh, look how good looking he is. Look how fit he is at the gym. And he's absolutely broke. Most of the gym rats are broke. They're broke. What are you talking about? Everybody knows that. You're spending 3-4 hours at the gym with no other skills or focus. Good luck. All right. But people are social creatures. And there's a theory called the third place, right? You had home, you had work, or you had home and school, but you had this third place where people met. They dance hall, all this other stuff. All right. They took out home economics, music classes. Yeah. I love woodshop class. I took in high school. My mom also has it. So some of these stuff in the Midwest and smaller rural places, they still have it. They still have it. But that's also why when I tell you, if your kid is in high school, they can go, there you go. They can go to community college for free. And that's where they would get the hands-on training for some of these classes. And so again, third places are really important. Hands-on training, hands-on activities. This is why you'll see academies get bigger and bigger. I'm just going to tell y'all, this is why the school choice is important. When you go look at the schools in Frisco and versus DeSoto, or schools that are in Plano versus South Dallas schools, and you're talking about computers, after school programs, tech, you're talking about levels on levels of investment, millions of dollars difference. People are willing, not that far, because that's like an hour drive every day. They couldn't do that for their child. But people are willing to drive to get their kids to better schools that have more opportunities and more things to do, because environment is important. And I make a joke about this, but Patrick Mahomes is with that white girl only because his mom left a black sports player, famous sports player, and she had to move back home to where her family was that can help her take care of these mixed babies. And so they're in this environment in this small town, and in a regular scenario, that he wouldn't be married to that girl. He'd be with somebody different. But because his parents split and she had to go home to a small Texas town, you still have Patrick Mahomes today. The talent is still there, but you also see the dynamics of the kids really struggling because they're mixed kids in a small Texas town that really wasn't built for them. I mean, you just go there. You can feel how you feel about that, but I want you to understand the impact of your middle school years really matters. The way the next couple of years. I mean, once you saw what happened with COVID, these people don't care about your kids. The Supreme Court said they don't even have to teach your kid how to read. So be for real, y'all. But anyway, all that to say, school choice is important. Real estate gonna boom. Don't let these people convince you it's gonna fall, because now it's an inventory thing. It's an inventory thing. Y'all really not ready for the conversation, but May through August, brace yourself, because this summer you're gonna be like, why the house is more? What's going on? They should be falling. They should be down. They should be. I'm telling y'all. I think that's true. They had things to do at school. They had people to be around. It's the same thing with bullying, right? If it's just based on how you look and how funny you could be, no other skills, not you do well in shop class, not what you do in home ec, not what you do in other things, kids are running out of activities and people to point at. That's all that is. So, all right, you guys, this is your girl, Erica Classical on Blog. I didn't want to run this one too long, but I hope this made sense. I hope you guys have something good out of it. Leave a comment. If you're watching this on replay, hit replay game. Again, thank you for all your time. Thank you for your well wishes, your comments, your condolences. I love you all. This channel's been a blessing to my life. Media business is real media business, and we can always chat on that on the school groups. All right, guys, this is your girl Erica, Classy Glam Blog. Later.
This is David W. Williams, and I'm giving a testimony to Erica Williams and her team. Because of the advertising relationship that we were able to develop, my company had the best month in the month of November for the whole year of 2024. And I'm talking about our sales were 3 or 4 times any other month during that particular year. And I know it's because of the relationship that I had with Erica and how she worked with me as an advertising partner. So now here's the benefit of working with her and her team. She's going to communicate to you what you're going to get as a result of working with her. She's going to over deliver on her value that she's providing, right? And she's not going to do a one-off deal. She's going to really invest in your success because she's really invested in making sure that you're going to get a success story from working with her as an advertising partner. So if you're looking to drive more sales, you're looking to bring in more leads, and you're also looking to get more exposure to what you're doing, you want to reach out to Erica and ask her, can I advertise with you?